Good morning, this is August Allen, and I'm working on the Hesperus. There's nothing more fun to do. This is the 2nd of January. This is, of course, the sign, Hesperus sign, that I acquired from the Long John Silver restaurant in Riverside, California years ago. And I like the sign at the restaurant. I'd eat there, and I just loved it. I loved the name, and when I got the opportunity to buy the sign, it immediately became the bus's name. 25 years ago. 25 to, it could be longer than that. I can't place one. This checks. I have a picture of it going into the, I need to dig that out. That's a photograph. I have photographs of this thing, but when I bought it, we didn't have the luxury of this kind of filming at all. We definitely had film cameras if we were gonna make movies of it or still pictures. So there's a lot of the story told in still pictures that I have to dig up and scan if I want you guys to see this bus running at 80 miles an hour back in the day from the top of a hill. My mom and one brother came up and filmed us coming in. So they filmed us from the top of a hill on the freeway, and we were flying 70 miles an hour. Maybe a little faster than that, but only if it was safe, flat, and cool. Did we ever run this thing? It runs a nice 80 miles an hour. You won't get away without balancing the tires. If you want a nice ride, the tires have to be balanced. Bottom line. Put a new set of radial tires on this bus, which would be probably really in order if you wanted to, if you're planning to take a trip across the United States and go 80 when you can go 80, then I would strongly suggest you need tires. At least you need steering tires for that speed. These are not radial tires that are on the bus. They are bias ply. They are the original style tires. And hey, this thing feels good. I do have a little bit of cupping starting on the front tires. All the tires have the 7,500 or whatever's on the odometer miles on it. And what's interesting is that the drive tires are getting thinner than the tag axle tires. I always like the way the tin-wheeler looks. This looks like a big truck on. And another thing that's really handy is that your hubs were interchangeable as far as they can go on any one of the wheels, and the axles will pull the tag axle hubs and vice versa. They can go anywhere. So if you've wallowed out your holes or something they're aluminum too. So everything's aluminum. The transmission case is aluminum, for God's sake. Everything they could do to make this thing light, they did. And the wheels were always steel. Some people, but to change from this was a nice set of wheels. The 6 holes in the wheels exactly match the 6 holes in the front brake drums. I'll have to show that picture to you guys, because you can look through any hole on the wheel and see your brake drum, because there's that visual hole in the side, and also, that's the inside. It lets the brake dust dirt out. Just throws it out on the road, so you don't have that buildup. I was always impressed with the front axle setup on the front brakes and all that. There was I just was watching one of Scott's videos where they point out that somebody put the S-cam spring on upside down so it drug the hub. Somebody did that to one of mine too. It had thrown off, and luckily those parts fall right out those holes in the front of the brake drum and don't eat anything up if it dropped off and then there was a piece hanging or something. But I like that. I like my wheels. I don't like 2-hole wheels on one of these. Aluminum looks good, but I'd have to change the lug nuts. They need to be longer to hold aluminum wheels correctly. And I'm not, that would lighten it up, but these white Bandito wheels are pretty cool on this bus. I like the way they look. I like the way the paint job looks, and those wheels and tires are what makes this bus. If you walked up onto this bus in a parking lot and it didn't have tires and wheels that, impressed you as something, wow, those are good tires, then you don't have anything. You have to be very careful. These tires, they still look real good, and we took a short jaunt up to the 70s the other day on the freeway, going out to the lube shack, or was it coming back that there's a little space in there you can push it into the 70s somewhere. 70, you can get away with it, they'll let you go there. You start doing 80 though, and the cops like to nab you, and I don't want them nabbing me. I've never been pulled over in all the trips. It was interesting, and then to find in some places we needed to stay in Salt Lake, and this motel, there was something going on, convention or whatever. We needed a motel. My sister and her husband, my sister was driving my car, her husband was driving my pickup truck with the tool trailer on the back of it, and I was driving this, coming to Idaho. So that was fun. It was an adventure. We took off on a trip the first time to Idaho in this thing, and I had replaced the fuel line with a 1/2-inch outside diameter plastic fuel line. It was aerospace, something tubing for one of the military projects that a company was working on. And so I thought, I ran this stuff. Man, we got up climbing, we were on 15. I guess we went out to Sierra Avenue, we got on 15, or anyway, we got on 15 on Limonite and went that way. And man, I tried to get up to 60 miles an hour and this thing would start dogging out. Oh man, it's starving for fuel. That's when I bought the secondary pump that is in the system now, and I put it in the line, and we got right back. I don't know, that was over $100 for that little fuel pump, but right there by the tank, I cut the line, put that fuel pump in there, and we ran that, and we got back on our way to through Las Vegas to Utah to Boise. It was a big trip. That's the big triangle that you can find yourself in with the bus. A lot of fun. Here's a piece that goes on the side of the bus outside, right? And it goes, what it does is it is a finishing piece to the cowling or the trim, the garnish. And what it does, the garnish along the whole side or the trim is covering a 2-row rivet pattern all the way. So that this comes out and covers that and brings it around. This one, this goes on this side. And I was just looking at it and thinking, man, I know it does, it fits, but there's a piece, just a short piece, that needs to be made. This is this long, this is a 30-inch piece, and this is exactly what we could work with that little break from Harbor Freight. So there's another little piece that needs to be made. I have all the material to do several pieces like this for whatever row. There's 2 rows of this kind of stuff, and come around the corner there. But the interesting thing is that it catches the sign. The sign picks this thing up. Just like that. You know how much of it sticks when you're looking out the window. There's the pictures of it that show you can see this through the back window. So this is right here. I have the cowling right up to here, and this stuff here, I didn't get this. It was off of the bus when it came, when I bought it. So I don't know what, a lot of people, they take that cowling off and let those rivets show. I've seen it on some of the nicely painted ones, which there's quite a few of them out there. I'd still consider to be amongst the rat rods. Some cats arguing about something. Let's go see what this is all about. This isn't inside the bus, I hope. Meow! Kitty, 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 kitty! Get out of my bus. Hey! What's this? Get home, go on. Hey! Psst, psst. Psst. Kitty, 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 kitty. Come on. Get it? What's this noise? Get! Go on, both of you. Get out. Get. Psst, psst, psst. Go on. Psst, psst. 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 Get. Psst. Psst. Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey! Cat fight. And that inside cat, he's always starting it. This goes, see that right there is a notch for the screw. So this goes right here, and that's the end tip of the Hesperus sign. And this comes right around to where it will be a small straight piece over there. And this is fastened right there. and there. So I hope I'm getting this good picture to, you know, to finish this, to refinish it. Now the Hesperus sign's got to be there, so that goes right up to that. And that Hesperus sign covers up the fact that we don't have that piece all the way around there. Is also why there's a difference, because they had to put more structure in here, and this channel is more open to that intake vent that's up there at the top. This side, this is an interesting, anyway, I made this. I've got a roll of this aluminum stuff on that little Harbor Freight roller brake shear tool. They're considerably more than the $199 did I give for that in California so many years ago? I don't know. I don't have it anymore. It got broke. I tried to work on too big a material. Don't do that. This right here. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's look at. I want to talk about a specific item here. This, we could go in closer than that. The thing is really okay. Right there. Right there. Okay. Hey, we have too much light. I wonder if that glare would go away if I. No, it don't. That's too much light in that area. I have some other shots of this. Anyway, this right here, this hump in the wall that you can see right there. Let's move in, see if we can look right at it. That thing is a air bypass around a horizontal beam for these intake vents that are up here. Those right there are intake vents that go in this channel right there down to and around the horizontal piece there. So don't think there's anything back there. All there is air travel space in your air conditioning. And then down to the intake right here, this hole that's right down there in the corner is part of the intake system of the bus. The pieces that contribute to the air change capabilities of the system. Let me you can see I've gotten dirty footprints on the carpet. This is really nice. The carpet, it's just I'm not, hey, it looks good when you vacuum it back up. It vacuums pretty well. It's doing well. What's really nice about it is you don't need knee pads. This is the first time I've ever really done some work back here with the carpet. The other roll, I'm trying to think what the other piece is from. The bed has been put down here, was put down here without carpet. It was fastened down. Then I needed a reason. I had a reason that I needed to get into the compartment, and I undid the bed. And well, the bed had to be. We don't want the helium if it's helium filled. It was a joke that we did that, and we had plenty of a balloon. We had a balloon fest, and they were getting rid of these helium bottles, and I had plenty to fill the mattress up, so I did. It's not something you normally would do, but what am I going to do? I had to let it out anyhow. I'm not going to sit around. We're trashing the containers. So I filled it up with helium. I don't know if it should have had me lighter, just a little bit lighter. It definitely, if it wasn't strapped to the frame, it would have floated the mattress for sure. But anyway, I'm looking at from between that support. That's a very stout member right there. There's one between each room, each window set from top to bottom, and that has to be followed. What I want to do there's one in that. I'm really thinking maybe this, although upholstery, wall, I don't know, that's the bathroom, dressing room side, and it is white behind you in a mirror. I think, I don't know, it reflects a lot of light, and maybe the closet door or lack of. I think the closet door really needs to be a set of curtains that you can just slide back there and close it. That's lightweight and something of a, man, you can just build a cover, an upholstery cover for the water tank, and perhaps a minor piece of support board, maybe cardboard, or it might be, what do they call it, masonite, to make the bottom of the closet that has been upholstered. That would be an upholstered box right there, sewed together so you can put your upholstered piece over the top of it and it looks fine, and then you would put your shoes on top of that. And of course my shirts hung, everything I had hung between, that's what that 2x4 hanging out there from the shower on both sides was for support of a hanger rod, that wooden, and it came on this side and it came on the other side. I had quite a bit. I had good 6 inches, 7 inches, or 8, I don't remember, maybe it was 12 inches long that stuck out this way and that way, so you weren't just confined to out in the just behind the shower for that. And what I'm thinking about over here is that's a fine piece of support right there. That's where you could tie off and mount a cloth barricade made of, these straps, this stuff here, look at this stuff right here, that all strapped together. Now, I've seen it for the back of pickup trucks and such things, where so you'd put a barricade there that could be open from this side, and if the bus is moving and you're going to try to get some sleep, then snapping the barricade would be a good idea, and keeping you see where this gets lower, but then it comes right back up. So the top of the mattress is right here, so you can turn over and watch what's going on the freeway. If Lindsay's driving and you've been sleeping here, so you are at a height here where you can see out the windows. I don't know that being that high up, in some instances that would be just perfect, but in other instances this high is not, and you have to make sure that you've got your curtains up so you can have your privacy from truckers and such or people that are looking up, because if you're just as high as these windows, well, they're looking in at you. And or you've got bedspreads all clothespined to it so it looks nice and you can't see out. Everything's all right. You've got privacy. Everything worked out. I have three Naugahyde possibilities for the upholstering in there. And one is a phony alligator skin, and all those little tiles, the scales on the alligator skin. It's a nice looking pattern. It's $14 a yard, so you need 2 yards to do this. And I'm also thinking it has to stop here. All of this here has to be, I've been scraping it down and making sure that it's semi-smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I was thinking that you have to be able to see this. You really do. That up there, that's your intake vent. I've talked about it. Goes down here to the intake that you see it on the outside. And that makes for an air change. If you've, it's pretty nice. It's on both sides. This goes to the intake, and there's some capability. I'd have to look at this stuff, because I just got a sneaky suspicion that there's some kind of hand control, or there could be, I don't see any electrical wiring or anything associated with shifting the air from the air conditioning. Air conditioning ducts were running right along there, and they would come up to each window. So that little area right there is, the seats were up on top of this stuff. That is where people were sitting, was up here. They had to step up to get here. The engine is part of the air change, no doubt. These are intake vents that you got the engine running. It's sucking air from in here too, and through that vent that's on the other side. On this side over here, we've talked about what that is, that little air bypass for the horizontal structure, so that lets air go from the top to the bottom. Little hope. That's your fresh water tank over there, and like we've talked about. Well, this is August Allen, and I am going to call this a video for now. We'll be picking up some insulation to get some insulation into these areas. I have a roll of that, a partial roll of the plastic for carpeting. So I want to make these pieces and wrap the pieces, so when we cover it up with the upholstery, that it'll look beautiful. We're going to I need furring for this, and we need furring that is, what is a 2x4? Narrow side of a 2x4. I need made into lath, which is about 1/4 inch. Yeah, it would be a solid 1/4 inch. So you'd get, quite a few of these out of an 8-foot 2x4. You'd get enough, I think you get enough furring to do the whole thing out of one 2x4, if not maybe two, and cut them so you have 1/4 inch piece of furring to staple, because that's what you'll use. Is right here, the Naugahyde will be stapled to the back side of this 1/4 inch that you have pre-drilled and figured out which holes that are already here that you're going to use for the screws, and then you'll staple the Naugahyde to it and put the screws in under the Naugahyde being just long enough to pull down to go down to there, with a little bit of folding for the seam to make a nice square seam that goes along to the bottom. Anyway, that would be folded under, then you attach it, and then you just fold the naga hide down. And you could have padding under the naga hide. They sell some padding. I'll look into that. That'll make it more smooth feel if you were to lean up against it. But nevertheless, it is upholstered. It will be upholstered. It will be substantially capable of supporting you if you do lean into it without damage. And it's just making a decision on which to use. And I sure like to have some comments from folks. I just watched one of Scott's videos, and he's got a couple of containers like I do, and he's going to put this canvas top on them. I like that canvas top. Now that I've seen you do it, Scott, well, I'm just going to have to do the copycat thing. I'm raising my ground over here because this field is below irrigation water level. And so I fight every year to keep the irrigation off of my property. So I've got this opportunity to have somebody's got dirt, and maybe you can see that raise, and he's bringing it in on a 1-ton truck, so it gives me the opportunity to pull the rocks and sticks out of it. It's dirt from just across the street. It's the same dirt and rocks and sticks that I have. Now the rocks and sticks are because of overgrowth and such in years, but whatever. I had the opportunity this last trash day to send the sticks away. There's a pile of sticks over there by the post over there that are good firewood. So I will be doing that. But as you can see, he's bringing it in. I'm flattening it out with an 8-inch tractor. And it has to be good enough. We're going to go all the way. The neighbor... you can't see. The neighbors, sometimes in flooding their trees, they've forgotten and left it on, and they flood my... Man, I had the bus sitting in mud one time. They did that. So I am raising the ground as I can for free. Right out there. Anyway... I don't know. I just thought I'd tell you about it and show you. You can see the raised, how much he's brought in. There's still plenty of dirt over there, so I'm gonna go all the way along the fence, along my property line and up from there. I'm not raising. He'll have 6 feet, and then it's going to raise gradually to wherever it is that I'm going to stop. And that's going to take some time. There'll be a few years into bringing dirt into here, a little at a time, and getting growth into them so that the raise in the elevation will be supported by growth. I wouldn't want it to fall in. Well, that's as much as I'm doing and what I'm doing right now. Hey, Scott, I really like the tent top for the storage containers, for the shipping containers idea that you got going. My nephew showed me that the other day, and I thought, man, it would be really nice to have that. And I see you're putting one in. Well, I'm just going to have to check that out in Copycat. Is all I'm going to say. I'm raising the property. as there are a few clips in there to show. And then I'd like to raise because I'm below the irrigation level over here, and I definitely have the containers sitting on railroad ties, so it would take a lot to get them wet. The rest of it, but it is a area that used to be farmed, and I don't like to deal with it. So I want to raise it, and then I'll move the containers over and be checking out one of those folks' barns like that. I don't know who I'm going to see out here in Idaho, but obviously they're advertising. Somebody's advertising here with that, and that's a cool idea, making a real barn. I'm very particular about the paint on the containers. It's all the ropes and anything supporting from the bus are up at the top corners. It's where they're supported or sides where the containers are allowed to touch aboard ship, and these things are packed in there very tightly. They are right there. All four corners stick out further than the sides by about a 1/4 inch. So when you've got a 1/4 inch clearance from the container, you'd have a 1/2 inch container clearance. That'll give you some relief in some kind of damage from a forklift inside. You'd have about a 1/2 inch that you could have side damage from a forklift and not hit the other next container. You bring a container in for loading onto a ship that's been damaged enough that it's going to hit the container sitting next to it. You'll have to no, they don't do that. They have to be uniform and ready to load on ship and waterproof and all that. They're wonderful. These are one trippers. They made one trip, and they have one of the doors only has one of those catches. The top, most of them have two. Well, I've got two on the other door, and they call it easy open patent on it. I like it. I do. The company I worked for, they've got one like that, and it has those doors on both ends. What an amazing! I loved it. I'd trade in the one-sided doors any time. It's really something else, is what I can say about that. All right, folks, I do appreciate comments. You don't have to. Views are good, but if you have any comments or questions about what I'm doing, or if you think I should take the tires off of this money pit and crush it, well, you can say that. Somebody told me that. Somebody from New York or whatever, he called me about it and said, "Hey, man, I'm asking too much money for it." And I said, "Well, you don't have to buy it." "Well, that's not the point." Everything. I said, "Well, what is the point? I'm not going to lower my price without some concessions here." And he got mad at me. I told him, "Well, I appreciate calling to you. I like to talk shop, but I'm just not interested in talking about dropping my price." And he says, "Well," and I said, "And I need to have people coming that can afford to come out and look at it." I need people to be able to afford to come look at it. And hey, I'll take them to, we'll take it for a spin. Maybe I'll take you to lunch. I'll provide the transportation and you can buy lunch. something arrangements like that. Oh, this guy, hey, I can afford to come out there. If I want to, I don't want to. I said, well, why are you wasting time talking with me on the telephone? And he says, oh, well, I just wanted to see what was on your mind, asking so much money. And I says, well, it's to keep people that can't afford the bus from trying to buy it. He said, you know what you ought to do? You ought to take those tires and wheels off of that and crush that money pit. Sell it for scrap. I started laughing. Anyways, he's one of my favorite. Why he felt compelled to talk to me about it, I don't know. But he did. And he can afford to come from New York City and or wherever, in New Jersey. I've told you what's going on. I am looking at the materials for this upholstery job, and I'm just going to go. I'm going to make the. Then you can shoot. You can actually shoot this bedroom, and it would be upholstered. The areas in the corner, no. This all has to be exposed. This all has to show, and it needs to be scrubbed. I'll get a bucket and some towels, and what we'll do will be scrubbing the dirt off of it. And I've been scrubbing it down to the primer paint or whatever's going on here, because this stuff needs to be able to be seen. This is the way, this is the airplane look of it. This was always exposed like that, and just with the yellow paint on it. And the second paint job that they put on it isn't as good as the first one. It sure is showing that up, because it's just crumbling off somewhat. But I have been scraping and peeling and you don't have to get too. I'm not going to get too carried away with it. Maybe some airbrush work. After I put the Naugahyde, whichever, there's lizard skin and alligator, and then there's this one that is just a plain. That might be what needs to be in here. I don't know, then that wouldn't be right, but I was thinking whatever this is, you could airbrush this stuff into a paint job that looked like the tile. It looked like the alligator skin. Yet you'd still be looking at the original construction and the rivets and all that in that area. So that is my goal for it. So anyway, I really like when you guys comment. I am of a mindset that I have time now. I can do that. So if you have questions, I'll be glad to address them. If it's about the cruiser, I'll do the best I can. And I may even research it, because you might ask me something that I know where to find the answer to. What runs what, or whatever. Something that happened to these cruisers that I see a lot of is that when you're looking at the dash switches, the mechanic did the work, put a light bulb that was too many watts in one of the modules, and then burned the decal behind the, it says lights or aisle lights. It tells you what the switch is, so it's not lit and the driver wants it fixed. Somebody puts a light bulb much too large and it just fried. They shriveled up looked like a piece of stuck motion picture film with a hot lamp. But that's what was there, and so we remade the templates that go behind the dash lights. So mine looks nice. They look nice. They all work the same way. You're going to pull it out. You take those 4 stainless steel screws out that have a Teflon washer. That white rim, when you're looking at that, is the Teflon washer under the screws to keep from hurting the paint. And that worked well. They need some touch up. They're 30 years ago that they were primos. Anyway, that's a real update 2 days into the new year about what's going on. I jacked I put air in the airbags yesterday or the day before and jacked it up. Made sure that all of the supports are under it so when the air goes down that it doesn't set. Anyway, that is what's going on aboard the Hesperus at this time. And just thought I'd fill you in. I'd love to have comments. And I'd love to help you out. I've got plenty of time to do this kind of thing now that I am retired. To all of those who make videos that I love, I try to subscribe when I'm doing it. If I'm doing it at my computer, then I definitely better subscribe, and I'll answer everybody that wants to know something.